Would you believe me if I told you that this photo is the cover for a SHINee album? I'm asking you this question because that's what it is. This random, wide-angle photo of 3 members of SHINee standing in a back alley with one of them wearing a clown mask is the album cover for one physical version of SHINee's 4th album, Odd. The album lives up to its name. It is very odd at times and makes me question if there was any kind of intention behind this album's concept, or if it is just a collection of whatever ideas they could come up with first. But this is SHINee. We're talking about a group from SM Entertainment, is known for being high concept, and this album was released in 2015, so you know who is also behind this is our good friend Min Hee-jin. And regardless of how you feel about her, we know that she does not work without intention. Everything is done for a reason. Her, in combination with SHINee, made quite the unstoppable team, producing a series of works that can each stand out to represent the best qualities of K-pop as a genre, and Odd is certainly no different. This album was constructed and stands as a bit of a celebration of SHINee's career up until that point. The album was released just before their 7th anniversary and broke an almost 2-year-long hiatus, where some of the members of SHINee were promoting their solo works in the meantime. SHINee was back with this album finally, and this upcoming release was intended to expand the group's identity in a new and bold way. As they put it in interviews, fans had known some of the members since they were in middle school, and now, on the cusp of their 7th anniversary, the Odd album was presented as a capstone in their career and a showcasing of the group as they were growing into adults.
지속해서 활동을 한다는 게 그런 의미가 있는 것 같아요. 저희가 성장하는 과정들을 또 봐와 주신 팬분들이 계시고, 태민이가 정말 중학교 때 데뷔를 했는데 그 모습을 기억하고 계신 분들도 계시고, 그 이후에 발매된 모습들을 기억하시는 분들도 계시는데, 이번에 나온 앨범을 보면서 많은 분들이 아, 샤이니가 컸구나, 계속해서 자라나고 있구나, 성장하고 있구나. 어찌 보면 저희는 여느 초중반, 20대 초중반 친구들과 크게 다르지 않으니까 계속해서 성장해 나가는 모습들을 많이 보여드리고 싶다라는 생각이에요.
The Odd album was released on May 15th, 2015 with the lead single View. View was written entirely by member Jonghyun, who described the song's concept as synesthesia.
아껴놨던 컨셉트가 있었어요. 공감각에 대한 컨셉이었는데, 예를 들면 소리의 색이 보인다든지, 향기의 무게가 느껴진다든지 가사로 풀어보고 싶었는데, 이번에 어떻게 잘 맞아서 샤이니 타이틀곡 가사로 붙게 됐네요.
View lyrically represents this idea pretty well, clashing the ordinary senses with unassuming actions. To me, this begins to explain a large portion of why the album is called Odd. Not odd in the sense that it deviates from normalcy and is perceived as something negative, but odd in the sense that it deviates from normalcy and alters the perception of the world around you. As this is the sentiment for the album's lead single, it also seems to be the nature of the album's leading narrative, as the bulk of it is crafted and written by the members of the group. It is very much a capstone of SHINee as performers and artists, but also, chiefly, a representation of them as individuals, and Odd is the perception they have of the world as they grow up to become adults in the idol industry. According to Min Hee-jin herself, who was creative director for SM Entertainment at the time and was involved in most everything SHINee did, SM's intention for SHINee was always to make them out to be a quote non-idol idol group, in the sense that the musicality and artistry of SHINee was the defining feature more so than their position as idols. Nevertheless, SHINee did have to reconcile with their identity as idols in the end. SHINee are the defining idols of their time, despite their concept intending to move away from that idea. You'd be hard-pressed to find an idol or group today that doesn't list SHINee as an inspiration for their work. The Odd album to me is SHINee reconciling with how much ground they've covered up until that point, an attempt to understand their success, their influence, themselves as idols, and how all of that may be different from who they are as individuals who had to grow up in the middle of everything that they accomplished as a group together. The second track of the album, Lovesick, continues the story of their legendary debut Replay in 2008. Lyrically, the narrator in Lovesick is now in a relationship with the person he sang about in Replay, but despite him feeling like he's he's all grown up or that he's stable, he continues to succumb to overwhelming and near childlike emotions in this relationship. The narrator experiences loneliness when he's not with the subject, an overcoming sense of jealousy despite feeling content in the relationship. SHINee are adults now, at least they feel like they are, yet are still struggling to find stability and a grasp of their emotions. Here's where I think the clown mask motif comes in, which is present in almost every concept photo of the album. No matter which version of the album you buy, that clown mask is going to be there, so it's clearly very significant. The narrative of this whole album seems to be SHINee's version of a coming-of-age story, yet the story concludes by the narrator being possibly even more lost and confused and emotionally distraught than when they started. SHINee does not have the answer, despite wanting to be in a place in their life where they do have all the answers. They feel old enough or mature enough to understand their feelings, but can't fully understand them just yet, at least not in the moment. This is the odd nature of growing up, the inevitable valleys in life that come as often as the highest hills. I think the sentiment behind this album is kind of relinquishing that there's nothing that they can do to make sure that they'll always be stable in life. Instability is a part of their story. It's a part of them growing up. One of the only things that you can count on in life is that things will not always be stable, and so that clown mask is always going to be there on standby when they inevitably need to put it on. Perhaps a physical reminder that the valleys are going to come, along with all of those mixed and unknowable emotions that sometimes feel like they take control over your life. That's the bulk of what this album is about. The song's narrator continuously remarks about how, despite how normal their lives feel, how stable they feel in the moment, a surge of emotions can overcome them, upend everything they thought they felt or knew previously. It's an odd way to go about describing a coming-of-age story, where the resolution is that SHINee acknowledges there's not much that can be done about the emotions they feel, despite trying to look inward and understanding why they feel what they do, but even that isn't going to prevent them from encountering the valleys in life. No one can truly avoid those low moments. And that's what I think this is. Those feelings, those emotions, those moments in your life are always going to be odd, and it's never going to change. It's never going to seem normal. So I believe the lesson here that's unspoken with the clown mask in mind is learning how to embrace it in a way that doesn't knock you off your feet. Sometimes you do have to become the clown, right? And yeah, this is my understanding or interpretation of the Odd album as it relates to the story of SHINee as a group. I'm sure there's 100 more details and complexities to this album story than what I've analyzed or speculated about. SHINee's work, if you haven't noticed, is insanely high art and high concept and very personal to the life experiences of all 5 members who make up this group as individuals and artists. I think Odd is one of the more complex projects that they've ever released. It seems very personal to them, especially given the context of what this album meant to them, and I'm glad that they were able to make it. But yeah, all of that being said, let me know what you think about this. If you have any thoughts, experiences, or ideas or memories in regards to this album. It's been almost 9 years, which is weird to think about. Yeah, I think that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you next time.